Hey, thanks a lot, Kate. That's an excellent context for the question which was asked at the beginning of the session, which is, how do you establish or maintain or actually even improve how you engage with your customers in this situation we're facing with the coronavirus? And I just want to introduce eGain by saying, we've been waiting 20 years and we've been preparing ourselves for this very question. eGain was born digital. We actually were born with a vision that as the internet was introduced, let's say in the early 90s, even by the late 90s with a small, single digit number of years, it was the vision of the company that interactions. And what we've seen here in the last several weeks is an accelerating motivation to do so. Who could have predicted this? I don't think anybody would, but the fact that we were thinking digital, preparing ourselves with these channels, with a comprehensive set of channels, means that what we are here to do is to be able to give you some actionable information so that hopefully, the reason you're here is to go back and apply some of this information to the way you engage with your customers based on the context that Kate set here. And so the short form of the story is I'm going to give you a lot of detail, but the offer that we're going to make you is we will give you a very low risk way for you to introduce what Kate was talking about. We're going to give you a very low risk way to start and put a chatbot in your hands so you can start playing and actually deploying and actually improving it and start using that to serve your customers. Okay, so I'm going to go into more detail about that later on in the session, but just keep that in mind as you're hearing some of the detail. So I'm going to give you a couple of observations, and then I'll jump into the detail. When I asked around and said, hey, what are we actually doing? What are we seeing customers ask us for? And how are we responding? I got dozens and dozens of data points. And I'm going to run through several of those right now and then discuss some of the patterns. But here's the other observation that I made. There was no sense of panic. There was no sense of desperation on the feedback that we were getting, because what customers were asking for were ways to connect the dots that we already had in our platform, ways to turn on the additional capabilities, ways to actually improve some of the things they were already doing. And our team was able to put together very quick, either just configuration changes or quick proposals for activation of new services that, from what I'm seeing, are typically in the 1 to 2 week range. We can actually turn on some of these services. So if you get the high level here, the message is that eGain has been preparing for 20 years for this particular question. So let me delve into it in detail here, okay? So if you go into the next slide here, start with the one about, sorry, move back one. Sorry, I didn't even notice you were back there, Anna. So let's go back one. So here, I want to give you a sense of, this is a particular financial services company which has been a very good adopter of our knowledge technology. And what our knowledge allows them to do is to serve in a number of different channels, okay? They can actually provide this knowledge to their agents. They can also provide this in web self-service. Now, in the current situation that we're finding, one of the commonalities that we're seeing is, obviously, these agents cannot get to the contact center. And if these are voice agents, sometimes we have degradation quality in voice, and sometimes we even face legal reasons why voice sessions cannot be taken from home. So what we're finding is that if you have digital agents, they're actually much, much less impacted by the shift to a work from home scenario, okay? The fact that our offering is delivered via the cloud means that all of these gains that you're able to see, that the agents and customers are able to deal with these issues much more quickly, have confidence in the answers, and reduce the follow-up number of sessions that they have to simply because the first session wasn't satisfactory. Note that the consistency of the answer is really crucial here, because you're bringing on new agents typically, or you're repurposing agents from other parts of the department, typically the field service. We're hearing that a lot, okay? So the field can't go out and visit customers either in retail points of presence or in customer homes anymore, you don't want to lay them off. They still want to help the company. They still want to help customers. So if you can actually provide a knowledge-based system that gives these repurposed staff the ability to come up to speed very, very quickly. Obviously, that's by standardizing the responses you give, actually delivering the right content to the right agents at the right time and not making mistakes there. And therefore, you can actually, have the 67% improvement in the time you answer these questions. And the customers who are obviously, understandably confused, worried, they're worried about payments as well as service levels. This is the level of service you want to deliver to them. Let's go to the next example, okay, Anna. So here, this is one I've actually been working very, very closely with. It turns out that there's such a large operation that they have, let's say, multiple locations, and several of them, at least a few, were impacted 100%. These agents could not get to the contact center. And at the same time, this company had the number of field agents that Kate was talking about, so many that could not make their standard, what they call truck rolls, okay? So they want to take these field service agents and put them onto the chat channels because the chat is just blowing up through the roof. We've never seen volumes of requests come through nearly as high, even during the Christmas season. This is way above what it was during the Christmas season. So what you want is an ability to put this channel in the hands of a field service agent who is now at home and who is able to now take this digital channel and actually come up to speed very, very quickly. So now you also see that, and in fact, this is one of the cases where the voice agents could not actually work from home. You need to be able to, give the same knowledge to the voice agents and allow them to quickly come up to speed and become facile with the chat channel. And by the way, when we say chat, we're also seeing a huge shift, not just from voice to chat, but also from voice to chat to SMS texting, because that's the way customers want to interact. So this actually now points to the fact that if you have a platform which can very easily switch customer context from one channel to another, and just very, very quickly get that to the same agent or to a equally knowledgeable agent, then the customer service level is maintained at a very high level. So SMS texting is a huge backup and actually a very effective channel now for this particular company. Let's go to the next case, Anna. So this is a utility company in the United States that also has been a fairly long time eGain customer. And what they're actually seeing is such demand that they've actually gotten such good results by deploying our chatbot, our virtual agent. So it's now been set up to recognize the common reasons, purposes, intents that you call it. And you can look at the numbers here, and they're continuing to improve. That the number of sessions that are handled by the bot, therefore, obviously, as Kate pointed out, reduce the number of sessions that are being escalated to your live agents, which of course is all the more important these days because your live agent population is so dynamic. It's reducing as people are, shifting their location. It's increasing as you bring on new staff, and you want to maintain that service level throughout all of this dynamism. Let's go through the next example, Anna. So here, this is an example of another customer who's actually been through our knowledge product and actually has attained quite a level of expertise with building knowledge content, and in fact, also building our case bases, what we call our guided help, or these very smart, we could call it AI. It was AI way back even 20 years ago, and it's continued to prove its value. Because one example here is, it used to be the case that their agents were handling tens of thousands of printed documents. And they've been able to reorganize all that knowledge and essentially get to a finite set of virtual agents that are actually agent facing And this is actually now available also for web self-service. They're actually now bringing on board new guidance that actually are based on what's happening with the COVID-19 situation, okay? And they can actually do this quickly as well. You know, this is within a small number of weeks. And so they've got 10,000 call center agents and 600 stores using the same knowledge, the same guided process as they go through the dynamism of their workforce. At the same time, their call resolution percentage increased by 35%. And if you use Net Promoter System scores, their Net Promoter System scores went up by 20%, simply because they were so effective using the knowledge system. Next one, Anna. This is a case where we had a very quick deployment of a chatbot that was able to escalate to both a live chat with an agent, as well as a shared session. By shared session, what I mean is co-browsing. The agent effectively looks over the shoulder of a customer as they're going through a fairly complicated process. With this one, it's actually, as financial transactions typically are, very long forms, very detailed. You know, one mistake could actually generate lots of abandonment on these sessions, and therefore the transaction never gets closed. So what they found was the percentage of cases, the questions that customers came with that could be answered by the chatbot was so high in a small number of months that this particular customer has attained the expertise to build out, I think it's probably up to 7 now, but they quickly went to 3, they went to 5, then to 7 different chatbots, simply because they found it so effective and were so expert by that time that they could actually just turn these things on very, very quickly. So that's a very, very good case where we've seen some very good adoption, and it's made a big difference, obviously, to their customer community. It's a very seasonal financial services company, so you can see that when the spike season hits, that's all the more effective when you actually have a working chatbot that can handle these kinds of volumes. Next slide, Anna. So I want to summarize, okay? One of the things that I said was we were seeing similar issues, and Kate touched on some of these, but I'm just giving you this firsthand, okay? Because I've talked to so many of these customers and our account teams on this. Customers are concerned that their services are terminated, sorry about that, are going to be terminated for difficulties having to do with the COVID situation. So they're calling up asking for payment terms extensions or renegotiations or other kinds of amelioration in this, just looking for some understanding from our customers. Also looking at whether or not they're able to use certain services. This is actually quite common in insurance companies, for example. There are companies that are calling up, customers are coming up and saying, hey, I'm not using my car for the last month or 2 or 3. Can I cancel my insurance plan for the last 2 or 3 months? And can I then, re-up it when this thing is over? So those are new cases where our customers are having to put together new knowledge, new case bases, new guided help, new web self-service in order to address these questions. Now, why is that important? Well, all of those capabilities are in our platform. We've had the ability to adapt knowledge very quickly, go through a review cycle, publish it out very quickly, and now it's available both to the agent as well as to our web self-service clients. At the same time, the customer engagement volume is increasing. Customers have all these questions that they typically did not have before, and yet the enterprise has fewer available agents, fewer available trained agents, competent agents, that have the level of seniority. So you can see how having the knowledge, having the web self-service, having the agent-facing guided processes, the chatbots that are looking to assist the agents is all being leveraged because it's all in our platform and it's all being used very effectively now. These are the kind of requests we're getting from the field. This next point is one that I've heard at multiple ones, particularly the telecom instance that I talked about before, which is now how do we use the people who weren't previously sitting at home. They were going out to customers, they were going out to retail stores. How do we use them? And so we've had tens of thousands, as Kate mentioned, being reassigned to handle chat volume. And even despite that, they're having to create new deployments of chat, new queues, new purposes, basically recognizing that customers have these new questions that they need answered. Throughout all of this, then, the business needs to maintain visibility on everything that's happening. So the fact that you've got the right dashboards in place, the right real-time metrics, the right regular periodic reports that allow you to know, is your call center effectively helping customers? Are customers being handled well? Are they going away happy or satisfied? Are they understanding that you care about them and want to make sure that they survive through this process and then still become a healthy customer later on? So you want to know whether or not your agents are actually responding effectively. We've seen, for example, at the very early stage of this COVID scenario, we saw, of course, wait times go very, very high. Sometimes they doubled and did much worse. So we saw that very quickly, and we saw how we were able to assist in creating new queues, bring on board new batches of agents, being able to assign them to the right customers. All of that is doable with configuration changes, and it can be done just very, very quickly within our platform. So these are the common things we're seeing across customers. Now, let me follow that up with just a restatement of that second observation I made before. This is all very pertinent, very timely, but we're making these changes in a BAU fashion. This is business as usual. We're configuration changes, we're creating new queues, we're creating new users, creating new user groups. This is all a matter of configuration. We're adding elastic capacity. This is all because we've got the platform in a very mature state after preparing ourselves to be serving digital channels for 2 decades now, okay? Let's go to the next slide, Anna. So each of those observations that I made earlier can basically be addressed by these capabilities that we have just itemized right here. We have a system that can take long-running business processes and actually send out notifications as events happen, okay? So for example, if you're waiting for a test result, if you're looking for an application approval, if you're looking for a transaction review, if you're looking for some kind of a cancellation process, if it takes more than just a few seconds where the agent has to go and do some work, we have a notification system that's actually been used by some of the very largest companies in the United States to send notifications and say, hey, here's where your process is, here's where you're going to pick something up, or here's the next stage of your processing, or here's your refund. All of those kinds of notifications can be set up. And the more you automate that and do it by having your knowledge system drive those events, you can actually then deliver the same level of high quality to your customers. The second bullet here is one of the main points that Kate was talking about, is to automate and use artificial intelligence as effectively as possible. And at the right time, seamlessly then, transition that session to an agent. We've actually had a virtual agent for arguably the better part of 2 decades already. And we're constantly improving it. And just recently, in the last 2 years, this is one of our most effective offerings. As I told you, customers are able to pick up how to maintain these chatbots, how to improve them, how to train. And that is just really good to see, because we can see that adoption of this is very quick. This is actually then one of the reasons why one of the offers we want to make you is take home a chatbot, do it very quickly, and do it with very low risk. I'm running a little bit short of time, so let me just quickly touch on some of these points here. We have been digital since day one. We started with email and chat. We are now encompassing over a dozen different channels I think one of the follow-on slides I have here indicates all that. And the fact that we've taken knowledge and make it actionable means that we can actually take that piece of knowledge that Kate was talking about and automate it. And then make that part of what you deliver to customers without having the live agent involved. So let's go back one slide, Anna. Yeah, here we go. So the point I want to make with this is, the reason I wanted to emphasize that business as usual point is, don't be desperate. Don't take rash action. You probably all had digital channels or additional digital channels on your roadmap already. Don't abandon that roadmap. Think of this as an acceleration to take some of that roadmap and actually look at it more closely in the short term, okay? The fact is, if you take a point solution that looks hot, it may not have the escalation point you need. It may not have the knowledge base you need. It may not have the telephony integration you need. It may not have the CRM integration you need. It may not have integration into the CMS you're using to deliver your website. So go look at platform solutions where you can turn on these additional channels very quickly, these additional knowledge sources very quickly, these additional agents very quickly, okay? Don't abandon the process that's already made you successful. Just use the roadmap and reconsider that you can actually bring some of those items to bear today, and we're gonna make that easy for you, okay? Now let's go to the next slide, Anna. So Anna, the next, yeah, here we go. So just wanted to give you a quick notion of what I mean by platform, okay? Is that we've had the ability to support the knowledge itself with automation of that knowledge in the center, okay? We reach out through multiple different channels. We can go through not just the traditional ones of email and chat, but we can go now to mobile devices. We can go out and reach to social platforms. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter. You know, new ones are coming online all the time. And we're looking at new offerings with some of the very biggest new channel players out there. And we have all of this supported by a consistent knowledge base, a high quality knowledge base, one that gets constant feedback from performance with your customers and satisfaction ratings from your customers, so that it's constantly under review and learning and improvement. Next slide, Anna. Okay, so I think we're at the top of the hour. So I just want to just say, let's go right to the offer slide, Anna. Yeah. So this is just indicating the breadth and depth of the channel, which I think I've already established. So I just want to go to the, yeah, here we go, here we go. So we can deliver an impact to your business in a small number of weeks. Typically, we'll take a 4-week period, but right now we're actually going to give you a 1 or 2 week offer, okay? And that is that take our chatbot, we will converse with you, you will give us some context into your business problem. Actually, Anna, I think there's a follow-up slide that has the actual offer. There we go, yeah, that one right there. So we will spend 1 or 2 weeks with you for a very nominal service fee, and we will build you, or we will build together a chatbot that'll address, you know, some of the common intents that you see coming into your contact center, and you get to decide whether it's being effective for you. The advantage for you here is we have such high confidence that we're just going to make this at a very low risk for you. And once this is shown to be effective, we have all those other channels that you can turn on just with a phone call. You know, we can actually go and immediately then take you into voice integration. We can go into co-browsing. We can go and build up a notify system. We can actually do all of that. But this is just a way for you to do in a very low cost, low risk way to get a chatbot so that your customers can be served better. Okay? I think that's about all the time I had for. I mean, I have a lot more details about the kinds of things we can build, the very VAs that we have deployed. We can show you those screenshots like the ones Anna's going through here. But the takeaway I want you to understand here is that we're here to give you actionable data, actionable information. And so this chatbot offer is one that we want to extend to you that should be a way for us to start helping you serve your customers in this notion of this situation of crisis. In crisis, it can either be a catastrophe, or it can actually be an opportunity for you to actually turn that corner where your competitors may be more confused. And we'd like to do that with you. Okay, we're trusted by customers. Some of the biggest logos you see a couple slides back are trusting eGain to handle our customer engagement with them. And so at this point, I just want to say I apologize for going over time, but that's the offer we want to make you. We've been here, we've been preparing ourselves for 20 years to deliver our services to you so that you can actually address these emergencies, and we were ready to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, both Sam and Kate. Your presentations were really rich and informative, and it leaves, I think, a lot of us with things to think about. So again, we're kind of short on time, so we're going to have to skip the live Q&A. If you ask questions, we will respond to you via email. I also wanted to point out this VA chat offer. Please sign up by April 24th for the opportunity to move forward with it. And then basically, again, thank you, Kate, thank you, Sam, and thank you to everyone who tuned in. Please stay safe, happy, and healthy. Goodbye.